Well, I'm very happy that we meet again today on the same subject, Migration Stories Project. My name is Abdi-Noor Mohamed. I work at the Kulturparken as a project leader of Migration Stories. Migration Stories Project is to conduct interviews, meet the wanderer, meet the immigrants who are living in Småland, but first starting in Växjö. And then while meeting the immigrants, we interview them and we ask them the reasons they came for and the way they came and which means or by which means have they arrived in Sweden. Is by boat, it's by car, it's by airplane, or whatever means the immigrant came to Sweden. And then we ask the dreams he had before he came to Sweden. What motivated him to come to Sweden? Why didn't he go to other countries? What has attracted him? What made him? What was the motive behind coming to Sweden? The motivation that has forced him, that has convinced him to come to Sweden. And then we ask him the dreams, if he had any dreams before he came to Sweden, or if he had any dreams after he came to Sweden, or if he had any intention of particular interest that has driven him to come to Sweden. And to what extent has his dreams become true? Is he still dreaming, or these dreams have become true? So these are the things that we are going to ask. And then we ask the challenges he is facing in terms of integration. Is it the weather? Is it the food? Is it the Swedish culture? Is it the language? What is the main challenge he is facing or she is facing in Sweden? And what kind of let me say challenges he's going to face, and to what extent is he trying to cope with these things? Does he have any kind of mechanism to at least cope with this kind of difficulties he's facing now in Sweden? And if he has any problems, does he know where to go? And if he has any kind of a problem, whatever it is, does he exactly understand what it is? And does he know where to go, who to contact for all his problems? In case he has got a problem at home, or in the first place, does he know how to live in this country in terms of integration? So the Migration Stories project is built in the form of a house. And we sometimes joke in the Kulturparken as having built a house called the Migration Stories House. And the Migration Stories House, or the Migration House, has got different rooms, which we are now trying to stock and fill and put, staff it as well, so that the house will be fully manned and equipped. But at the moment, since the resources are so limited and since the capacity of the Kulturparken and other donating agencies are quite limited, we are not able to fill all these rooms. But we try to at least discuss today about what are these rooms and how many rooms have we so far built, and how many of them have been occupied, and to what extent are they going to be these projects implemented? Well, first and foremost is the women and migration. Women and migration is a subject we have particularly chosen to be taken as a sub-project of the Migrations project, because women are facing difficulties far more exceedingly than men, because men and women, we just know them or see in the newspapers or in the books or maybe in the media that both of them are migrants, and when they come to Sweden they are treated just like migrants. But from the human side, we have to go extra mile to find out the difference and the difficulties they are facing, which is far heavier on the side of women than men, because women may be traveling while they are pregnant, may be traveling while they are having had trouble with the family, as the motive of they have left the house and the country behind could not be the same as that of the man, because the man may be looking for better jobs or better opportunities, or maybe fleeing from war. But women have got same problems with men, but they exceed further few problems than men, because the situation is quite different for women, especially when you are in the third world or in Africa. So that is what we are going to fathom out, to dig into this information and find out what kind of problems women face during migration. Because we cannot just take them as an immigrant for both men and women, which is really the case at the moment in all over the world, and which is correct, in fact, because if I am a migrations officer man in Sweden and receive people from overseas, I just treat them equally. That is, is undeniable that the treatment should be equal. But as Kulturparken, or as people concerned on humanity and all these things, we must at least go far beyond that to find out what kind of problems women face during migration. And we are very happy that we have got quite a good number of women who have contributed their stories and have talked about the problems they have faced during this trip. And we have another project called, sub-project called In Migration Project. As we can see, which is very common in Sweden and in many parts of the world, when people arrive in a country, they are resettled within the country or given a space to leave a town, to be relocated. Like myself, when I came to Stockholm, I went to Göteborg, and then from Göteborg I was relocated to several other places until I got my permission to stay in Sweden. So these relocations sometimes end in few months, so that the person gets the permission to stay in Sweden and then settles himself or herself permanently in some area. But that's not the case in many communities who are now living in Sweden. We see quite a high number of in-migration, especially if we take an example, for example, Browse and Växjö. People are being absorbed into Växjö, are attracted to come to Växjö from various places far away from Växjö, at least to get some kind of a city-like environment where the people can get services and whatever they want. But if you see even the villages outside Växjö, they are the same as in Växjö, because you get the same services, you get all these things. But the difference is that the job opportunities are much higher in Växjö or in larger cities than in small cities. But when we have tried to discover, find out, investigate the reasons behind the movements of the people from the small towns to the larger areas, we came to the conclusion, the same as other researchers have come, like the university researchers, that people are migrating to larger cities in search of better opportunities for survival, for job, for all these things. But we have found out something more than that, not different, but more. We found out this kind of investigation results of migrating to get better opportunities, but we also found out that people are migrating to get their relatives. They like to stay closer to their relatives. Although they are having a space to live, although they got houses, although they got places to live, but still it's not enough for them to live alone in such a country. Where they are quite new, and although they got the permission to stay, although they got a house, or the services, although services are available, the same as in Växjö, but still they want to move to Växjö because they want to get closer to their families and relatives, because they want to integrate through their families and their communities, so that it will be better, they will feel better adjusted than trying the whole burden by themselves, integrating themselves alone in a different area, far away from their the people they know, or far away from the contacts, or far away from the people they have had links, whether it is tribal or clan or ethnic or whatever it is, or whether they have been just friends. So it's better for them, as we have learned from their from the investigations we have done. We have learned that they just want to be close to their people. So that is another sub-project. And then we are not only concerned for the adults, we also are concerned the children as well. We go around the children to the schools to contact the children and find out what is their memory of the of migration, because the project is called Migration Memory Stories. So what kind of memories what kind of events do they remember during the migration? They have been coming from all the way from Africa, Asia, even in some parts of Europe. So during the migration, during the process, during the trip, during the journey, or while on their way to Sweden, what kind of events have they witnessed it, and what kind of situation do they remember? What can they tell us about their migration? It's not good only to listen to the old people or to the young or to the vuxen people, maybe the adults, but it's also good to find out the story from the children themselves, because children have got memories quite different from the way adults perceive events. So we want to know, find out, probe them deeply into the mind of the child to find out what kind of memories does he have. In fact, if I just tell you a story of my own, in my family, I've got 3 children when I was living. They were 4, in fact, but one is still back home. So the 3 I ran away with, one was only 3 years old at that time, 2.5 to 3 years. My daughter, Horia, for example. She has left behind a doll, what do you call this, a toy she used to play. We were not able to collect all the equipment we possessed in Somalia, because the bombs were getting closer, the bullets were falling, and the rockets were landing just near our house. So we had no time to pack and leave. So we just left immediately and tried to grab anything we can get in our hand, not choosing this thing or that thing, or which is important and which is not important. And one of the things we have left behind was her doll. And when we, a bit far away in the bush, and tried to get relaxed under the tree, and my daughter asked me, Daddy, I want my doll. And I said, I don't have your doll. Where is it? I said, it's back home. We just ran away. I said, why did we run away? Why haven't we taken my doll? I said, because there was war. We didn't have time to collect our things, even though they were important to us. I know your doll is very important, but we didn't have time to come. But she said, but Daddy, I cannot understand what you are saying. I want my doll. I said, I don't have your doll. Why is the doll not taken? I said, there was war. And she asked me, what is war? And that's the time I just nearly cried, because a child who does not even understand what war is, and someone is pounding with rockets to kill that child, it is unfortunately inhuman to understand that kind of situation. So it was really a very, very difficult time, a very difficult moment I have had with my daughter when I was running away from war. Sometimes I joke with her. She's now in Sweden. She's about, she's in the first class of the school, and then I sometimes joke with her. I said, okay, now, do you remember your items? She doesn't remember really, but she's very happy that she has got so many items to play with, toys everywhere in the school and the house, and she's so happy, and I really feel very happy. But I still would have felt better if I had her doll with her when I left home. But still, this is really a safe haven for us, that children are playing, eating, with a roof over their head and food on the table. That is something we have to say thank you to the Swedish government and to the people of Sweden as well. Well, these are the things. So these are the things. We go to the schools and try to find out from the mind of the children, what kind of memory do you have during the time you were migrating to Sweden? And well, it always says that charity starts at home. I started the experiment at my home, and I asked my children to find out, to take the pen and the paper and then draw what kind of memories do they have during migration. I was expecting that they tell about the car broken and the tree under which we were taking rest, or all these things, but they didn't. In fact, they remembered the peace part of our journey. I'm very happy, because they don't seem to be psychologically traumatized now, because the part of the story they remember, our migration, is quite peaceful, because I can see that from their drawings, because my elder daughter Maria has drawn flowers, which she said, I used to remember that these flowers used to grow in our house. That is very good. And then even Horia herself, she can't remember anything, but she has positive memories of the trip. And she remembered about that we were one time in a car enjoying somewhere in the greenery and in the bush, and well, that is very good. And I'm very happy. So I want to find out from other children in the schools and other places, and that is one task we are going to take over in due course, really. And then we have quite a very big project, which is not sufficient to be discussed at the moment as a project, but I just try to highlight about the dimensions of this project. It's called Migration and Cold War. What is the relationship between migration and Cold War? How is Cold War, the end of Cold War, related to migration? In the case of Somalia, where I came from, there's a lot to do with Cold War. It could be linked to the end of Cold War, the clashes and the killings, the strifes and chaos and the civil conflict, the instability and this kind of war taking place between different groups, tribal, clan or religious groups. All this taking place in Somalia after the fall of the military regime in 1991 could be to some extent attributed to the end of Cold War, because Somalia has been a very important a country in the Horn of Africa when the two superpowers were fighting over the control of the Red Sea waters. So we had a very big role to play to trade between these powers as to how we can survive as a nation, so that the engine of the nation, of the government, could be running for quite some time. But when one power took the upper hand, and then the importance of the Horn of Africa in general has gone down, and Somalia has been hit so hard by this kind of end of Cold War. I like it to be ended, of course, because we live it in a situation of terror, or when will the bomb fall, or when will one of these powers will touch the button to destroy the world. Well, it was good at least to come to an end, and it was good to come to such a peaceful end, but the ramifications, the implications, the side effects of the end of Cold War has to some extent impacted on us quite negatively. And then we are trying to find out from the immigrants themselves to know what kind of an impact did this end of Cold War has had on you, on your life, and how has it been linked, and how is it linked to your migration, or to your becoming as a migrant or a refugee in Sweden. And is there any kind of connection between the Cold War, ending of Cold War, and any kind of instability that has taken place in your own country? It's because we want to take migration in the broader perspective, not only in one side or this side or that side, but we have to get a bigger picture of what migration, the phenomenon of migration, is all about. And anytime we are trying to study or make stories or all these things, the baseline from where we depart, or the departure point, is migration as an international phenomenon. Migration is not, as we know, as something that has happened to a particular group of people, or affected the very particular ethnic group, or minority, or majority, or this clan, or this religious sect, or this identity, or this. It's a natural phenomenon that has affected all over the world, and that has been continuously going on from the day this human being has come to Earth. As we know, people migrated from Africa. We are the origins of all mankind. So migration started when mankind started living in this world. So we just see it as a phenomenon of human concern that people have to study and understand. Because if you are not migrating today, maybe your forefathers have migrated, or if your grandfathers migrated, you are not migrating. Maybe other people are migrating. So migration, we are taking it not as a single entity with a narrow focus, but with such a large understanding of the causes and the nature of migration itself. If we can take an example to Sweden itself, about maybe 150 years ago, almost like that, 1 million, more than 1 million Swedish people left Sweden to the United States, and most of these immigrants left Småland. This is a story. All the records have been placed everywhere, and then we know the story. So anytime we try to conduct some kind of a story on migration, we always have to look into the migration, immigrants, not the immigrants. We are the immigrants. The people who left Sweden are the immigrants. So we are trying to refer to immigrants, to the immigration of Swedish people to America. And that is something we are really very happy, because it's a foundation, it's a treasure that we have to look into all the time when we speak about this migration. So migration is something that we have to deal with at all costs. And this is, I'm very happy that, we have got an opportunity to contact all these immigrants in Småland. Not all of them, let me not say that, but let me say to some extent, for a period of about 6 to 7 months, over which time the migration project was running, we have contacted about 50 to 60 people, and we have photographed, interviewed, and we have done collected the information, and we even collected, requested them to donate a little item to the museum. So we are building immigrant museum as well, just beside the Museum of Immigrant Invandrarens Hus. Utvandrarens Hus. Utvandrarens Hus is the immigrant house dealing with the Swedish people who had left Sweden 150 years ago. But the Invandrarhus, the one I'm talking now about, is trying to establish some kind of a memory base, writing stories, collecting items, and then trying to at least leave a legacy for the people coming behind us, the next generation, the third generation or the fourth generation. So it's Invandrarhus. It's a house of the Invandrar, of the immigrants. And this is very good, because if I leave this country for any reason, or maybe if I die, if I just disappear one day, my children would like to know why I came to Sweden and what forced me to come to Sweden. So if they have a place to refer, some kind of a reference line, so they can know, understand, and they can see why I came to Sweden. But if they don't have any kind of reference, if they don't have anywhere to go to find out what forced their father or their grandfather to come to Sweden, then they will become just people without a history, without roots, and without any kind of a past to reconnect with. So I'm asking all the immigrants who are watching me today, who have got the opportunity to at least listen to me today, and I just request them very kindly to contact me and send me their stories, or to at least send me their stories through my email number, or I give you my telephone number at the moment, so that you can use anytime, you can contact me anytime you want, and you can use my email to send all kind of information you have about yourself. It is very good for Sweden, and very good for yourself, and very good for your next generation, and quite important for the mankind of all the world. And I would like to conclude my appearance today here, and I thank the Kulturparken, I thank the Kommun, I thank the Kulturframtid in Uppsala, I thank Rion from Förbund, I thank the people who have donated items to the Kulturparken, and I thank everybody, all kind of people, any kind of mankind living in Sweden, whether I contacted or not contacted. Thank you very much. Hej då.